Aibobo, bon combat. Aibobo, bon combat. Aibobo. I want to get to 2017, yes, because that is prior. That the president at that time, if I'm not mistaken, was Moise, correct? Yeah,
it was. It was.
And that was the president that was assassinated a couple years ago. But that is you know, basically it's a slightly different moment in terms of that was prior to that assassination and prior to this quote unquote overrun of the militias in that sense. But what was significant of that time is the UN occupation of Haiti. In fact, it was the UN and this core group that I mentioned in our stream yesterday that basically installed Moise, yes, as the president without really any constitutional viability in that respect. Yeah. But before we get to those issues, could you just give a reflection of what was the conditions on the ground in Haiti during your stay? You were there for the entire year, so just like what was the condition, what was the environment, and how were our people in Haiti responding and receiving the UN stroke US etc. occupation?
You know, just prior to my movement there, to me traveling down there, it was around the time when the UN, with Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, had put forward a really ridiculous, meaningless apology for having essentially, first of all, killed at least 10,000 Haitians, but the numbers are higher than that because they'll downplay the numbers as much as they can with cholera. They, to me, when somebody does things on a certain scale, and when you know that in a different circumstance they would not have allowed it to happen, to me there was no accident when you killed that many of my people. And you say, oh yeah, this thing got through this. How are you going to have a whole bunch of soldiers from a place that is that is besieged with cholera, that's suffering, and not screen them before you send them to another country? And then and you run their latrines almost right smack on a major Haitian river, so that their feces leaches into that river, and people downstream just are bathing, and washing. And some of them getting the water, lovely water from the Artibonite River that used to be the river that actually fertilized that fed the rice plains of Haiti. Yeah, where we produced all the rice and sold it all around the Caribbean and elsewhere. Yeah, but now since Clinton, all that stuff. But the Artibonite River and that thing, and then people just started to fall. Because they did not knowing why they dropped. And eventually, I think Al Jazeera was one of the journalists. They scratched. When at the time when they did really good journalism, and they found that they were the latrines right there, leaching where you could see where they were into the river, and hurriedly UN soldiers hurriedly trying to shovel and but you could see the big trucks where they collected the feces, and it's just crazy.
Yes.
And Kim-moon, oh, we are sorry we did not help more. Not we're sorry we actually killed these people, that we actually brought the disease, but we did not help. Still to the very end, never admitted that they brought this thing in.
Yes.
Sri Lankan, I think it was Sri Lankan soldiers. But that's it was around that time, and of course it was around that time when they had their special rapporteur who actually was putting it forward. Well, they couldn't hide anymore, so they had to make an admission after many years of symptoms, which I say there's no jurisdiction. You can't make it. We don't have to answer any accusations because there were cases being brought by another Mario Joseph, a lawyer who's come here some of the time, who was representing Haitians, Haitian families, and so there was no compensation. There was this simply, and so it was 2017 was when they had to go. So they were wrapping up that particular mission, which
Right.
called MINUSTA, except they're replacing it, changing the name with another UN mission called MINUJUST, and all kinds of, their acronyms are meaningless. You know, to get to know what they mean is like you're wasting your time and energy. Because who are they? Why are they there? And they were in occupation, and this is an occupation. Haiti has been under occupation for a very long time.
Yes.
Certainly since throughout the 2000s up until right now, even. Yeah. And so now it's not UN soldiers, so it's now other men with guns keeping the people terrorized. Yeah. So we have to step back as much as we can, look at a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And so that was the time. And so the year Jovenel Moïse was, people were publicizing the election results before they were announced officially. So these were dictated results. And I remember even I at one point was being recruited to go on the observer to go to Haiti just prior to 2017 in December and November there around election time, to go and observe, because they wanted to make sure to make it look as legit as possible.
Right.
They, the US and the state, you know, all of the actors.
Yeah.
The core group, you know, and all that. And so they wanted Moïse there because it was going to be a Sweet Mickey, then Moïse, and then probably more like Sweet Mickey again, you know, a back and forth, because they can't, according to the that part of the constitution, they haven't been able to change.
Yes.
They can't have back continuous presidencies. You have to do it once and get out. You might be able to come back again, but you have to get that. Same thing I was done to Aristide, you know, when he got to finish his the last 6 months or something of his
first term.
The first term. The condition was he wasn't had to just finish what was left, and then so Preval came in, and then but the people this time re-elected Aristide, you know, after Preval, not 60-odd%, but 92 or 93%. They said we really want Aristide, you know. But that's what the CEO said. Oh no, it's fraudulent. No, we don't like it. And then in 2004, the centennial of the bicentennial of Haiti's independence. They made sure they did it then to humiliate the country. You don't get to celebrate this feat of us. 200 years of defeat. But going back to 2017, no, the people knew what they had. Yeah, they'd get on the street, but of course, this was their fights were more about wages. You know, the demonstrations.
Yes.
And the students were getting agitated. But then again, what began to happen? People, the information got out about Petrocaribe.
Okay.
Petrocaribe was recognition by President Chavez of Venezuela of his connection to Haiti, of Venezuela's connection to Haiti. And he spoke of Haiti just in the bus, you know, brotherly terms, and he put his money where his mouth was. He put his oil where his mouth was. He said, we don't have loads of cash, but we have loads of oil we can let you have. But petroleum, you sell it, and then in the profit, that would be the loan that we will make you. We will give you. The figure is not in my mind. Maybe 4 billion or 3.8 billion, something to that effect, dollars worth. And then you develop that place. You do what needs to be done as much as what needs to be done as possible. But that's not what happened. Yes, they did sell the oil. Yes, they did make the money, but they just pocketed it.
Yes.
And they put up fake projects that never happened, and records, and people and their wives and their cousins and everybody was a contractor. And so the people found out. The people on the street, where's the Petrocaribe money? And those protests carried on beyond 2017, but they began in 2017, and they went beyond and throughout 2018, maybe some of 2019 as well. And so, I mean, being there, but one could function in Haiti. That's when the construction of the institute began.
And
I was to get my permits. Yes, there was that corruption and somehow I found a way not to have to pay anybody any money under the table. I just to make the things official because I'm thinking up ahead. The thing is fake. It's gonna come out. When things get legit. So I don't want to make it out there. And so, and try to do things. But of course, we're just coming out of a major earthquake.
Right.
So we want to make sure that the place is solid. It has all the reinforcements, all the steel infrastructure in there to make sure. Because I was right there daily, on the site. And just in directing, and so the country was functioning to a good large extent, and I know that the National Museum was open, people were going. In fact, and I was liaising quite a bit with Professor Bello, because I was at the compound there as often as I could be. All the commemorations, etc. We were there. The birthday of the emperor was celebrated over that week-long celebration, or 2 weeks long, and I was there, and of course the state contributed not at all, almost. It was maybe the local police station maybe sent a big bowl of soup or something like that, but it was all done by the volunteers of Fondation Félicité. Be much, and the people who believed in the foundation and the work of Professor Bello. The big red and black flag, and then there was a trip. We took a little trip. My first time visiting Gonaives to see the monument, the Independence Monument. That I think those bronze figures, of the Independence. And then it looked and then directly from that there's a major park with a big obelisk and different. So and yet the neglect was there. I was shown the place where Empress Felicity was buried, highly neglected. Big pound of water built up and all that, and and so just that you could. But you see, at least there was a sense maybe we're going somewhere at some point, at some time.
Yes.
But then, but we knew what we had, and we should have known that. The thing that if Moise is there, just holding like a placeholder for the Mickey, this is not going anywhere good, and it didn't. Because then that gang stuff didn't quite, it was. I don't remember that being much of a presence. In fact, here's what it was. Popular neighborhoods were beginning to arm themselves a little bit. And then the police would raid, and would be not just the police, but what was left of the UN would join the police and shoot up neighborhoods, and then and kill. A lot of women were getting killed, and so they were really. So what I believe, what I see now is that they almost encouraged young people to join the gangs by their brutality, by their blindness. And so, and heaven forbid, if one policeman got shot, then they would raise a neighborhood.
Yes.
And so these policemen that you hear now are they're outgunned, etc. Maybe I think those who are left are probably those who have no other choice but to keep working in that environment. Because those who committed those crimes, they've taken their Biden, quote unquote, and left long ago.
Yes.
And so, so the beginnings were there, because I remember coming back from southern Haiti and passing through a neighborhood, not on my way to where we lived, and seeing a whole lot of police presence, big Haiti police. And I even asked, as we were driving, what's happening? So bandits in the corner, etc. And then I read later on that there was massacre there, but they were the perpetrators of the massacre.
Yes.
And so, but also there was a presence of the UN. soldiers. So they were being,
Okay. You know what? It's interesting that you mentioned that. There's a lot in what you just said, in relation to the fact that the gang thing was not as significant a presence at that point. And it's very interesting. For years, when you discuss, like in Jamaica has a significant issue with violence, and has done for a very, very long time. And it was the case that when we discussed the relationship between poverty and violence, it was often said that Haiti is poorer, than Jamaica. It's known as the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere, but doesn't have half the violence, as a nation like Jamaica does. It's a very interesting point. And that is not just in relationship to Jamaica, but many other Caribbean islands. When you look at poverty and its relationship to violence, Haiti, though poorer than most of the nations, did not represent a lot of the violence that we would see in some of the other nations. And so this outburst of quote unquote gangs, the militias as it stands at the moment, would appear to be a relatively new phenomena as it stands. At the moment, it's a very important point, and the fact that you contextualize it in terms of the police and the UN actually terrorizing the people is one that is a point that we're gonna have to look into that some more as well, deeper in future shows. So thank you for that context, brother KhepHeru.